Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be filling out the 2024 presidential election map based on a liberal's point of view on how they hope the 2024 election would look like, the map between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. Now I did the same thing in the previous video for the Republicans, how they hope, basically a conservative's point of view on how they view the election. Now it's going to be the opposite this time for a Democrat's point of view or perspective on how they think the map would look like. So before we get started, make sure you guys are subscribed, click the bell so you don't miss on my content, press the like button, share this video. Don't forget, we have memberships. If you're interested, you can find links to that in the description section. So you have the typical likely states for the Republicans, obviously Iowa and Ohio, and then you have Minnesota. I think the Democrats are really confident that Minnesota is going to be likely for Kamala Harris, mainly because you have that Tim Walz impact. I think he can really drastically improve Kamala Harris's numbers in this state. If he wasn't going to be the VP, then it would probably be much, much closer. But I do think because he's the governor in this state, he's going to bring new voters to Kamala Harris, and he's very popular. So I think Democrats are very confident that Minnesota is going to go to her by a comfortable margin of a likely one by probably over 5 percentage points. And then you have New Hampshire. I also think Democrats are really, hyped in this state because it's obviously trending towards the left. New Hampshire is getting bluer. You have a lot of college-educated voters. That group specifically really pans out well for Democrats. And just like I mentioned earlier, Tim Walz, as governor, really focused heavily on education. And I think that can correlate to a lot of New Hampshire voters. Therefore, I believe if you're a Democrat, you're probably feeling pretty good about those two states for Kamala Harris. And then there's also Republicans thinking that New York is in play and could be, decided within single digits. I think if you're a Democrat, you think that's completely not true. Therefore, Kamala should win New York by a solid margin, as usual, for Democrats. And then, obviously, I think Virginia is going to be likely. If you're a Democrat, I think that's your point of view, that it is going to be likely for Kamala, but probably around 6 percentage points, slightly closer than 2020, obviously. I think that this state obviously doesn't really is ever close on a general election, even in a more favorable year for the Republicans in 2016. Donald Trump still fell short in this state. Hillary Clinton won by over 5 percentage points. So I think if you're a Democrat, you're not worrying too much about Virginia. And then you have Colorado. I think if you're a Democrat, you probably think this state is solid blue for Kamala Harris. She's going to win it by double digits, over 10 percentage points. It is true the state is getting bluer, just like New Hampshire is. It's shifting towards the left, and Biden won by around 13 points in 2020, so it's not going to be close at all. And then you have the state of New Mexico, which is a typically likely Democratic state. Albuquerque is a Democratic stronghold county. It's hard for Trump to overcome the votes in there. So from a Democrat's point of view, I think you're confident about New Mexico. And then Texas, I think, is going to be lean. If you're a Democrat, you're probably thinking it's going to be closer. And Democrats hoped in 2018, the midterms, they can flip it on the Senate level. They actually came really close. Better Work almost defeated Ted Cruz in 2020. Democrats hoped again they can make it close on the general election. Did not happen. Trump won it by over 5.5 percentage points, a likely margin. And now this time in 2024, Democrats are hoping once again that Colin Allred will finally turn Texas blue. But on the general election level, I think most Democrats don't think Kamala's going to win this state, obviously. So it's going to be lean instead of likely. And then you have Florida. Majority of polls actually suggest it's going to be really close. On 538, the average lead for Trump is barely cracking 6%. So I think Democrats hope they can make Florida really close and competitive. Keep in mind, Trump won it by around 3 points in 2020. So I think a lean margin would not be too far off if you're a Democrat. Therefore, it's going to be pretty much close as it always is. It's a swing state. But if you're a Republican, I don't think you think Florida is going to be close at all. So, the views differ. And then you have the states highlighted in yellow, which are the true toss-up states. Obviously, you have the considered, so-called battleground states like Minnesota or Ohio, which are considered battleground states. In my opinion, they're not really. I think the true toss-up states are the ones filled in yellow, the 7: Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. So as of right now, I think if you're a Democrat, you're confident that Kamala is going to win the state of Michigan. This state was the bluest in 2020. It voted to the left of both Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. Biden had the greatest victory in this Rust Belt state out of any other. He won by nearly 3 percentage points. So I think if you're a Democrat, you probably are guessing that Kamala will win the state of Michigan. It's going to be a hard fought battle, and Trump may not win this state. In my opinion, he actually might lose this state, but the only reason why I actually have him winning it in my final prediction is because the three Rust Belt states don't normally split apart, which is also why, if you're a Democrat, you probably think that Kamala wins all the three Rust Belt states, because like I said, if one Rust Belt state goes to, one party, then the rest will follow. They never break away, historically speaking. So if Michigan goes blue, then Wisconsin, Pennsylvania would do the same as well. I also think that from a Democrat's point of view, if you are a Democrat, your perspective would be that Kamala wins the state of Nevada. Main reason why is because it's extremely close on 538, and Republicans are overestimated in this state. Almost every single election, 2022, they were overhyped. Adam Laxalt failed on the Senate. He lost to Catherine Cortez Masto. And in 2020, at certain points in time, Donald Trump was looking like he can very well win this state. It did not happen. Joe Biden won by 2 percentage points. So I think if you're a Democrat, you're confident that Kamala will win the state of Nevada. And even if Trump flips Washoe County, obviously Clark County is a Democratic stronghold county. I think Democrats rely on the county literally all the time. And then you have Arizona. I think majority of Democrats can agree that this state will, Kamala will fall short and Donald Trump will narrowly pull off the victory in the state of Arizona. It's a border state, and that's a losing issue for Kamala Harris. And majority of the polls, even the most left-leaning ones like CBS, who's not friendly to Trump at all, has Trump up by 3 percentage points in this state. So I think even if you're a Democrat, you would probably agree that Arizona will barely go into Donald Trump by under percentage point. But it is true that this state is getting bluer. Talking futuristic-wise, don't be surprised if Arizona keeps electing Democrats up and down the ballot in some of these down-ballot races as well. For example, in 2022, they elected Democratic governor for the first time since 2009, Katie Hobbs. And they also have a Democratic senator in this state. So yes, Arizona, in terms of the shifts and trends, is trending towards the left. But in this election specifically, not 2028, it's barely going to go to Donald Trump. And I think most Democrats can agree with that. And then you have two more states, Georgia and North Carolina. I think if you're a Democrat, you are, hoping that Kamala can possibly make Georgia extremely close. And in 2020, Biden barely won it. And I think he had, a lot of enthusiasm that maybe this time around Kamala does not have. You had obviously BLM, you had what happened with COVID, and those factors are not here to save Kamala this time around. So even if you're a Democrat, in my opinion, I think according to a Democrat's perspective, Donald Trump would barely pull off the victory in Georgia, but Kamala's going to keep it close. It's going to be a hard-fought battle. She's going to fight very hard, and it's going to be decided by under percentage point. And then if you're a Democrat in North Carolina, I think you can agree that Donald Trump is on track to win this state, but it's going to be closer than what most Republicans would think. They probably have North Carolina lean for Trump. I think if you're a Democrat, you think it's going to be closer than lean, so probably tilt by under percentage point. And I think Mark Robinson is dragging down the margins. He is hurting Donald Trump. So I think if you're a Democrat, you're probably happy with what's going on to Mark Robinson hurting Donald Trump. But still, I think it's common sense that that's not going to be enough for Kamala to win this state. So 262 electoral votes for Donald Trump. If you're a Democrat, you're going to admit that this is extremely close election to Kamala Harris's 276 electoral votes. So I think from a liberal's point of view perspective on the electoral map, I think they think that Kamala really can win this election, and it's truly 50-50. And if you're a Republican, you're probably thinking this election is not close at all, and the polls are severely underestimating Donald Trump, just how they always do, even though I believe in no presidential election, 2 straight elections in a row, or 3 actually, the same party was overestimated in 3 straight elections. That never happened before. So once again, if they do overestimate Donald Trump for the 3rd straight election, I do think that would break history. Tell me if I'm wrong. So I think if you're a Democrat, you're probably thinking 276 for Kamala Harris. One last final reminder to subscribe, click the bell so you don't miss all my content. Press the like button, share this video. Don't forget, if you're interested, we do have memberships. You can find a link to that in the description section. That's pretty much it. Thank you everyone for watching. And if you are a Democrat, let me know, is this map accurate to you in the comment section down below.